Yes, they've done it again. Aston Martin copied the fastest car on the grid within a couple of weeks. In 2019, the Silverstone-based team, which was Racing Point at the time, copied the 2019 Mercedes to run it in 2020. As one of the designers at Racing Point at the time, I can tell you, yes, we really just had pictures. And it was much more work to make this copy work than just developing our own car. Because in 9 out of 10 times such a copy job goes wrong. Because you copy a concept which is not your own, and you might misunderstand certain features and flow structures around the car. But in 2020, Racing Point was quick. If copying works, every other team will complain. If it doesn't work, you look like a fool. In 2019, Racing Point copied the whole Mercedes from nose to rear wing. Now, in 2022, Aston Martin, which is the same team just with another name, copies bodywork and at least the floor edge of Red Bull. Now, why are they doing this? As I explained in my previous videos of the car presentations, the main priorities for the 2022 cars were making the most of the ground effect floor, keeping the front wheel wake outboard, and getting as much energy as possible to the back of the car. To keep the front wheel wake outboard, most teams decided to have large side pods. To get as much energy to the back as possible while having large side pods, there are two main approaches. Having a high downwash concept where you drag air down towards the back, or having a large undercut design where you guide the energy underneath the high side pod towards the back. Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin chose the high undercut design. But then the whole bouncing issue came up during testing, which is caused by strong suction areas underneath the car. This suction is so strong that the edges of the floor are bent down and seal the underbody even better, which makes things worse. So the main problem comes from the vertical expansion of the floor. More on that in my other videos. But stiffening the floor edges makes this effect more controllable. If a team now had large downwashing side pods, they have less exposed floor area, which means they have lots of possibilities to stiffen up the floor underneath the bodywork, without obstructing the flow around. And that's also the lightest option of making the floor stiffer. If you want to stiffen up a flat plate without external support like a cable, you need to put in quite some weight. And at the moment, reaching the weight limit is still an issue for most teams. Aston Martin had exactly this problem. While they had large side pods to keep the wake outboard, they also had large exposed floor area, which is hard to stiffen up. The result was then that they needed to drive the car with higher rate height, which cost them lots of downforce and increased drag. But it was necessary to reduce bouncing. So they now copied the most promising concept, large side pods and downwash. A concept that is used by Red Bull, AlphaTauri, Alpine and Ferrari. The fact that they now chose the Red Bull to copy has two reasons. One, it's the fastest car at the moment, and two, it's quite a normal process in F1 that senior Red Bull staff is going to Force India, or Racing Point, or now Aston Martin. So, during the last decade, the Silverstone-based team always tried to copy Red Bull aero concepts while using Mercedes engine and gearbox. Ex-Red Bull guys are sitting in leading positions within the team, and of course, they look at Red Bull first if they look at competitors. So even without the arrival of Dan Fellows from Red Bull a couple of weeks ago, looking at Red Bull has tradition at this team. It looks like they pretty exactly copied the part of the floor that's visible. It would be interesting to see if they also copied the floor underneath, because pictures are available and this is the main cause of the problem. If Aston Martin can improve their performance by this B-spec car, it will be a role model for other teams to follow. So let's look forward to this weekend's Grand Prix and see how they are performing. See you at the next video.